It should be live on YouTube.
3, 2, 1.
Billionaire Takedown, episode something.
3, I think. I think it's 3. How you doing, Tim?
I don't even know. Another week has flown by. That is the stage of life I'm in, where I have more responsibilities than are almost humanly possible, and I still want to have a creative life, a fitness life, and an activist life. So it's been a whirlwind, but my problems are first world problems, so I'm not really complaining. How's your week been?
It's been pretty good. I'm trying to make myself more busy with some stuff, but I've been filling the time with, I think, productive things, so that's good. Like you said, like you mentioned fitness, I've been picking up some fitness habits. I started walking, so that's good.
You started walking?
Every day, 10,000 steps.
Aren't you like 27 years old?
Yeah, 28.
Usually kids start walking when they're like 1.5. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I started walking
consistently. Hey, listen, bro, if you keep it up, you might even be able to run soon.
True.
All right. Skip and jump, too. I'm sure the audience isn't tuned in to hear about your developmental progress.
Yeah, I know. I just got out of the high show last week.
Did you take down any billionaires?
No, unfortunately, not yet.
All right.
On it, though.
You have a plan?
I do.
What's your plan this week?
Well, I don't know exactly. Getting stronger so that I can do it.
No, I don't mean in terms of fitness.
Oh.
Taking down billionaires doesn't have to do with physical strength, endurance, mental clarity, mental endurance, willpower. But I don't think you need to be like jiu-jitsu master. Not
necessarily.
You don't have to be.
You got to be in shape, though. So you're more efficient.
Yes, being healthy is helps for productivity. Sure, you need a foundation, otherwise you can't really do much in life.
No, I'm afraid not. Habits are everything. We're creatures of habit, all of us.
Is there a good segue there into your topic?
Well, we could talk about the fact that I don't know. I'm not sure. I was going to talk about, maybe we can mention this. We can mention that I think as people who live in the United States, I think most of us here could be doing more in terms of being active. We have a very high rate of diabetes and heart disease and stuff like that. We are one of the richest countries on earth, if not the richest country on earth. Yet we have all of these problems with our population. Has a lot to do with our food. Has a lot to do with not necessarily the country, but the fact that the modern world is very sedentary, but a lot of our jobs.
It's a combination of many factors, for sure.
Right. And
including the billionaires,
of course. Well, they're the ones poisoning us with garbage processed food.
Well, is kind of an ambiguous catch-all, right? I mean, not every billionaire is necessarily poisoning the food supply, but what do you mean by that?
I mean by the food companies, like specifically hiring scientists to make their food more addictive, to engineer artificial scarcity for food. Like, there's food deserts in the country. People are not able to reach a grocery store, so they have to shop at a place where they might not find as many fresh vegetables, and they're eating foods that are, instead of foods that are filling them up with less calories, they're eating processed foods, which they're in like a caloric surplus of like 1,000 or 1,500 calories a day, and that doesn't take too long to add up, and then all of a sudden you're 100 pounds overweight, or maybe 50 pounds overweight. So unfortunately it happens a lot.
Yeah, the symptoms of empire. It's still the case where I was in Europe, in Italy and France just 2 summers ago, and I didn't see an overweight or an obese person for like a week. Like every once in a while you see old fat grandma, Italian grandma, but it's amazing. People just have a much more active and healthy lifestyle. What was your topic though that we had talked about earlier?
Well, one of them was the fact that America, the United States of America, is the richest country on earth, but we have a quality of life that is arguably lower than people who leave the United States and live in countries that we consider to be poor or third world or developing. Like
Right.
for me personally, I'm thinking about making the jump myself. And when I go and I talk to people, some of them they share the same perspective with me, and it really resonates and they agree. With especially like wanting to get out of the city and move to the countryside. I know that's something that interests you. But I also get the response of people thinking like that I'm kind of crazy for wanting to like leave everything behind. But I don't know, man. Like in terms of raising a family and in terms of like, raising kids, I don't know if I want to do that here with the education system being as hollowed out as it is, and the fact that it's just getting worse. The fact that like we're whether it be by just the culture itself or like uh, this like constant division that the billionaire class, the Epstein class is pushing onto us with like these. I don't know if you want to call them psyops or whatever, but they're conditioning people to not really treat each other very well, and it's just poisoning society. In other countries, people take care of each other, and yeah, you might not necessarily have like a 20,000 pound truck, but you don't really need all of that. You just need a functioning healthcare system, you need internet, basic infrastructure, stuff like that, good food.
Haven't there been studies on needs, basic needs being met, and that happiness is not, once your basic needs are met, happiness is more purpose and meaning driven versus uh, financial?
100%, yeah, after a certain amount of income. They did that study, I think, originally in the 20 teens, and the number they came up with was like after like $120,000, probably higher now because the cost of living is going through the roof. But
In the United States.
in the United States, yeah.
Yeah, not in Vietnam.
No, not in Vietnam. No, Vietnam, it's more like I don't even know. In Vietnam, it's more like 25,000. That's all you would really need.
That's amazing. And one has to wonder how that exists. What are the mechanics of that? How is that even a reality? What part of that is natural? What part of that is man-made?
Well, I'd say almost 100% of it is man-made. The only part of it that isn't man-made is the fact that Vietnam, relatively speaking, compared to other countries like the United States, are disadvantaged because of the natural resource imbalance. So, yeah, we don't control that. Wherever the minerals are, that's where they've always been. Um, but the rest of it is largely because of currency manipulation and the fact that the United States has its imperial grips on the rest of the world, and with the dollar, um, the U.S. dollar's purchasing power parity is much, or no, not the purchasing power parity. The U.S. dollar's purchasing power is artificially inflated and propped up because it's the world reserve currency, and also because of the threat of invasion from the U.S. military, partially. The World Bank, and the IMF also are controlled by the United States. And if you're living in a country that's purposefully kept underdeveloped by the United States, the imperial core, your currency is just not going to be worth as much. It's just, unfortunately, it creates this artificial imbalance that just ought not to exist. And there's also the fact that there's another angle to it. So during like the 1960s, um, your U.S. dollar went a lot more in terms of buying stuff internally as well. Uh, Now everything has become inflated, and the prices are absolutely out of control. Not only has your buying power went down domestically, but the cost of bread, if you compare, or just food or anything, any service or good or service, if you compare them and you match them to inflation, there's just like an incredible markup by these companies. We're overpaying for our healthcare significantly for worse outcomes. Whereas if you go to any other developed country, you're going to pay less. And if you live there for an extended period of time and you're using their healthcare system, you're going to have a better healthcare outcome because they focus on preventative care, the stuff that keeps you from getting sick. You're not going to get diabetes if your food isn't laced with sugar, and you're not going to get a lot of these conditions if you're living like a healthier lifestyle with less stress. If you're able to see a doctor and get checked out before it develops into something serious. Now, let's say you do have something that requires specialized care. There's places for that as well. If you go to China, you can get everything you need done as long as you have like you're able to overcome like the language gap, or if like get someone that speaks English or whatever. You can pay a lot less money for the same treatment and not have to worry about going bankrupt. A lot of people in Asia go do medical tourism to China for this specific reason.
Does China have a socialist healthcare system?
Yeah, they have a socialist healthcare system and a lot more than that.
So how does it compare, let's say, to the European socialist medical system?
Well, I would just say that it's more efficient in that if you go there, it's going to cost you even less than the European system. Like if you had to go there as a foreigner and you weren't
What's
like
the
a taxpayer.
quality? What's the quality? Do they have all the same technological advances and levels of care available, or even further?
Yeah, I can't speak to whether it's further or not, but I know for a fact that they're a fully industrialized country and most of the manufacturing happens there. They also have most of the best universities on the planet, so it's not a matter of lacking talent for performing those procedures or having that expertise. So they have all of that, and their economic system it allows them to be more efficient in producing those outcomes and those results. And that's not just me talking. As I said, medical tourism is big in China. Lots of people from all over Asia and probably elsewhere also at this very moment go there for their medical care.
It's real interesting, China's approach. I mean, one really, please listen, audience, if there's anybody out there who is listening. It's difficult to overcome these biases that have been programmed into us since birth. But I implore you to please reevaluate what you think critically about things like China. Have an open mind. I spoke to a friend about 2 weeks ago who's been living in China now about 10 years. And he said to me, Tim, no matter how open-minded, intellectually curious, evolved of a person you are, you cannot understand what China is until you come here. And so what he was saying is kind of like it's a known unknown for me, at least, right? Like I know I don't speak Chinese, right? I know that there's something I don't know about the experience of actually being in China. But he was saying, I was asking him questions, and he was like, Tim, when I go back to the United States now, I wonder, how did I ever live like that? He's saying that in some ways they're far advanced, not just in terms of technology, but just
socially, culturally, spiritually.
Yeah.
The society itself is just more pleasant and it's more of a rich experience to just to be in and to raise children in. Even
the automatic reaction Americans are going to have is, yeah, but it's communist and you're not free.
So what? You are free. No, they are free.
Okay.
They're truly free.
He's saying they're freer than we are, is what he's saying.
Yeah, on many, many different levels.
It's hard to believe. One really does need to. I need to make the trip to see what he means by that, because how do you be free when everything is monitored and you have a social credit score that limits your ability to interact and engage? And, it's like if the wrong people are in power, they're controlling you. But what it necessarily should evoke is the question of, well, aren't we subject to propaganda and social credit scores and the likes here in the United States. It just goes by different names, but is actually in many cases perhaps even more corrupted than there. For example, the healthcare system, right? Or the banking system. It seems like maybe the Chinese have come up with a synthesis that includes free market economics, but creates constraints and limitations to excess, not just to excess for the sake of being in excess, but an understanding of social and spiritual dynamics that occur in societies when there are no levers and controls that are put in place in the architecture, because everything is an architecture. Even if you have no architecture, even if you deny architecture and you flattened everything, that's still an architecture. It's still a hierarchy. It's still a hierarchy of sorts. So there's going to be these systems of control. If you look at American side of things, it looks like the way we go about everything is everything looks like a nail to our hammer, right? It's just a violent approach, and it's almost as if the architecture of this, it's like you could predict these things through simulations. You know, it's like if you set certain things in motion, you can almost predict certain outcomes, even with chaotic systems like human societies. If you think in terms of the economic and political structures, right, as well as the cultural and social structures that people operate by, and these are there whether we're aware of them or not, is the point. And so, for example, politically, or no, economically, it seems that China has figured out not to just allow bankers to have a complete orgy, right? Like, you could get so rich in China. I guess there are a few billionaires, right?
There's quite a few.
But the orientation seems to be like, you don't end up with oligarchs, though, right?
No, it has to do with, like you said, it's the architecture. It's the organization of the economy. It is fundamentally, what are we doing? What are we doing and why are we doing it? To what end are we doing it? Are we doing it for the sake of profit? Are we doing it for the sake of enriching a couple people and to give them power over everyone else? Or do we have an entity that is collectively organized and maintained for the benefit of the common good of everybody? That comes down to capital. That comes down to how you govern yourself.
Listen, you lost me at consideration for more than just a few. So sorry. We need to go back to capitalism. No, I want to be in that group, and I want to engorge myself without end, if you don't mind. It's for the better of everybody else. Believe me. Okay. Just leave it to me. I know. Trust me.
You know, I actually disagree, Tim. I think that the billionaires in the United States are living shallow, hollow lives, because deep down, they would have a better experience if they
listen.
They're not going to agree with me, but
they have to go off and build nuclear bunkers in New Zealand, okay? Because they are afraid to die, because they haven't already died. That's the secret. That's the key to living eternally, is once you die and you have nothing to lose, you don't necessarily turn into a madman that, goes on a rampage, but you're able to actually see things for what they are.
Yeah. And have they really lived? I don't think they've even really lived. If they've never worked a day in their life, if they didn't have to struggle, some of them did.
Lots of billionaires have worked. And
yeah.
And pulled themselves up by the bootstraps. Okay, let's not take that away from reality. But
right. But I would say the vast majority of them.
There's plenty of Jared Kushners in the world, right? That are just born privileged and rich and entitled and thinking themselves to be exceptional, and so on, so on, so on. The Alan Dershowitzes, and they're not all Jewish either. They're across the board in every society. even in China, right? I'm sure there's pedophiles and dirty, disgusting criminal psychopaths, all that. So, the way they got to deal with it as well, but I'd be curious to know, what does their prison system look like? How many people are actually in prison? How many people are addicted to drugs? What's domestic violence look like? What are the children? What do the children reveal about the society? Because that says it all. Are they killing each other at school? Are they addicted to drugs? Maybe they've figured something out. And maybe it's time for Americans to be like, hey, let's not just be antagonistic because they threaten the billionaires who are the architects of this system. They don't actually really threaten me and you. Okay? They only really threaten the billionaires. The billionaires don't want us to see China for what it is, I bet. Because then we're going to want more of that. Let's not invest in war. Let's not borrow until the wheels come off and just destroy things. Let's actually invest in ourselves, in our infrastructure, in our children, in our education. That's what they're doing in China. To resent them for that is foul. It's morally inferior to make excuses and to project blame onto people that are simply doing the best they can with what they have. And they've outsmarted us. They've outsmarted us in a lot of ways, not just by stealing. I know Chinese culture and society has done plenty of that as well, but they've been patient for thousands of years. And if you know anything about near history, the British imperialized China ruthlessly to the point where if it were me or you, we would have eternal hate and vengeance on our mind towards our slave masters, which is what the British tried to be in China until they were thrown out. So they have that memory of the West. So they know the DNA and the ultimate agenda, not of we the people, but of the psychopaths who are drawn to the pillars of and levers of power in our political and economic systems. So they know the nature of the beast that we are, which is why I think they're not provoking it militarily. And honestly, at this point, based on the expertise that we've been receiving from guys like Douglas McGregor and the great Scott Ritter, and the list is extensive. Those are just the first two that come to mind. Is the United States is almost depleted of its defensive weapons. So like, it may be the case that China is actually becoming the world empire without ever shooting a bullet. You got to give it up for the masterclass in strategy here, okay, and not resent it. See, I resent it if you come to the place where my family's been living for 1,000 years, tell me that God gave you that land, and then you murder and kill everything and everybody, and then blame it on me. I'm really going to resent you if you win, okay? If you temporarily, egregiously dominate me. But if you are smart and patient, and you actually prove that you care for your people genuinely, at least empirically, when it comes down to the numbers. If we just look at the facts between American and Chinese society, I bet you we convince ourselves that they're the future. They're the society that's beating us. So instead of trying to undermine them and kill them and go to war against them, how about we learn from them? We collaborate with them. We share our wisdom and our knowledge and our unique American perspective and expertise. And we genuinely seek to make the world a better and safer place for everybody. And the first thing we got to do is eliminate any country that violates the agreements it makes with other countries, and all lying from the equation. So deception and war have to be removed altogether. And if you violate those principles, you become a rogue nation that nobody does business with and nobody gives any credence to whatsoever. That's the world that I'm working this. That's what I believe the Billionaire Takedown is for. Okay. It's not to just beat up people that have made a lot more money than we have. It's because fundamentally they are an obstacle that needs to be dissolved. I don't mean destroyed, but transformed, transmuted into higher consciousness and higher understanding. Those guys have to, first of all, they're creating the nuclear Armageddon, and then they want to go run from it in their bunkers in New Zealand. They're so lost on reality and what really has value and meaning. I would so rather be a Palestinian in Gaza than be a Sam Altman or a Peter Thiel or an Elon Musk any day of the week. And I'm not talking about being a terrorist. I'm just saying I would rather live in a tent city under missiles, knowing the true meaning of life and love and sacrifice and what it's really going to take. These bastards are trying to live forever because they are detached from God.
They're trying to live forever and to make sure everybody else, that no one else remains. They just want everything to themselves. And anyone who is...
That's the devil. That's Satan.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just evil. It's unambiguous evil. And they don't even try to hide it. They don't even try to hide it. Half of them.
Yeah, they try to hide it. Yes, they do.
The smart ones do. Trump doesn't hide it.
Trump is an anomaly because he's actually not smart enough. He's missing something. Like, he does have some special city powers of will that he imposes. That I think is his superpower. He has a certain kind of like otherworldly will, I think. From a distance, that's my assessment. But when it comes down to it, for example, the only way he can get out of the pickle he's in now is with violence. He doesn't have access mentally to what it is to truly compromise or negotiate. He's never actually truly built a business successfully. He's a fraud in that regard. There are real businessmen who do know what it is to build and operate businesses, but Trump is just a con man criminal who's leapt from failure to failure his whole career.
Couldn't make money running a casino.
Got other people to write books on his behalf about how great he is as a deal maker. I mean, it's just so obvious that he knows nothing about deal making or negotiations. If he did, he wouldn't rant at 4 o'clock in the morning on Truth Social.
About exterminating a civilization.
I mean, that's just rule number one of some master genius deal makers. Keep your fucking mouth shut. How about that? Guy doesn't know anything. But I mean, I don't want this to be a Trump rant. I'm not an anti-Trumper by default. I'm apolitical. To me, it is not a Republican Democrat divide. It is an evil good divide.
Yeah, let's not.
They usurp the same terms and eschatology and manipulate it to deceive millions of unsophisticated Americans into thinking things like Trump is Christ,
or uniquely bad when the rest of the class is just as evil.
Yeah. They're all just as evil. He's just mask off about it because he's not, like I was saying, he's not savvy enough to really something in his brain. He doesn't know how bad he looks. He doesn't know how much the world is laughing at him.
Well, I think he knows how much they're laughing at him. I just think he doesn't care.
Well, no, he
cares about that actually.
Yeah. He cares about it. He cares about it more than anybody.
That's true.
He's so cowardly and insecure.
Well, he doesn't care about hiding that he's a bad person.
He's given up on making any sort of intellectual argument against it. I think he just sees other people as wrong and bad. It's a very childlike mentality, right?
Yeah.
It's just me versus all of them, and they're just all. He's a very deranged individual, but I think he's in that regard he's accepted his fate. But I don't think he truly understands that, like, the people that really matter in the world, not his MAGA followers, not his sycophants, but the people who really are alive spiritually in the world, look at him and laugh. He is a clown. He's the absolute bottom of the barrel in terms of what American leadership produces. He's also the height of the expression of what America is in
at its core.
At its core, yeah. There's no denying that.
Yeah,
wow.
he's not the he's a symptom. He's not the disease. He's the symptom of the disease.
Yeah. What is the disease?
I think it's capitalism, among other things. But
no, that's just an architecture. That's just a design. That's just a system.
It's the
disease, not the system.
It's the fundamental belief that some people are entitled to take advantage of others, and that should be celebrated.
It's the ignorance of thinking that you're not me.
Yeah.
That's the root of the disease.
Yeah.
Is to think that I can hurt you and it doesn't hurt me. I can take from you and it doesn't actually take from me.
That when you take from somebody, you gain something from taking from them instead of giving. It's
kind of like when you have a one-night stand and it was consensual and all that, but then the next day you're just like, you feel shitty. You feel emptier. It didn't help, whatever you were reaching for to fill that void, it didn't actually do the job. It just made you feel worse about it, like any other addiction.
Mm-hmm. You got what you thought would help, but it did nothing for you. Now you feel even worse because what's the real answer? It's fixing that root problem.
It's a spiritual crisis. That's what we're in. And I can't decide where to move until the day of reckoning arrives, which I don't mean religiously. I'm just saying, like, the world is out of balance, and it's been so out of balance for so long. I'm surprised it's taken this long. I thought after 9/11 we were going to see this kind of kinetic warfare and confrontation with China and Russia. But now in retrospect, it all makes even greater sense. It feels as if the conditions are truly ripe now for a spiritual revolution and a transformation. And I feel like America that's our destiny, because we've never fulfilled this promise that we introduced to the world 250 years ago. This set of principles. It was honestly false advertising.
I'd say even some of the same people who wrote the founding documents of the United States owned slaves. It's a massive contradiction.
Exactly. I mean, it's that blatant, and there's no excuse. There's no denying it. I don't care. People say, "Oh, it was 200 years ago." You have to think about. No. I knew thousands of years ago. I can feel empathically when other people are suffering. I can feel right and wrong. So can you. So do we all. We all know it. Let's not over-intellectualize it to make it okay. So that's my point, is that it was a hypocrisy from the beginning, as well-meaning as some of its authors may have been, or as non-slave owners, maybe even abolitionists. But the fact is, it was marketing.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what it was.
It was the foundation of a new society. So when it's built on top of genocide, it doesn't really have the foundation you think it does.
That's it. Slavery, genocide, and war.
It's not actually going to become the nation that you think it is, because it has a virus in the core. of its code that has never been cleaned out. It's never been addressed. And it's the same spiritual crisis that I'm talking about. And denial is not just a river in Egypt. Did you have some videos you wanted to show about Vietnam?
I don't think that
we weren't looking for much when we left the US. Honestly, we were just looking for a more affordable place to survive and have a higher quality of life. But what we found when we got here was something we never really expected. We found access to healthcare, to affordable housing, affordable transportation, fresh food, amazing community, safety in countries that we had been told our entire lives were third world countries. In Thailand, there's universal healthcare. In Vietnam, 90% of people are covered by public health insurance, and healthcare costs are much lower. While we were in Vietnam, we had to take our 2-year-old to the ER after a head injury, and we paid a little over $7 out of pocket to be seen. And that was without health insurance. Meanwhile, in America, it can cost $300 just to go to the doctor and thousands of dollars for an ER visit. And that's with insurance. And the food here is so healthy. It is fresh. It's grown locally. There are neighborhood street markets on every corner. It is affordable food, even when you compare it to the wages that the people make here. There's fresh vegetables and fruit and meat and spices and pre-cooked to-go meals that you can just grab and take home with you that are made by local families. Even the poor families here eat well. They have access to affordable, healthy foods. It's not owned by corporations. It's not profitized. It's just local people feeding each other. Compare that to rural America, where processed food is more affordable, maybe the only thing available, and people may have to drive 20 miles just to get to a grocery store. In the community here is strong. They are still very much family oriented. Families live together, elders are respected, children are respected. People know their neighbors. They look out for each other. Even us, even being foreigners, we feel so safe and accepted here. Listen, we've been told our whole lives that America is the greatest country in the world. And I'm not here to bash America, but we still have to acknowledge the problems that we are facing. A lot of us are truly struggling. We've been sold the lie that if you work hard enough, that if you sacrifice enough, everything is going to be okay. But what I've seen overseas is that a good quality of life is not only about wealth and making more money, it is about priority.
I don't think that
That was great. I'll load the other one up. Does it go sort of together?
It's very similar. Yeah, very similar. Same principle.
Oh, same lady.
Same person. Yeah, same lady.
Just country in the world. So why does life feel so poor for so many of us? This isn't a temporary crisis. This is real life for millions of people in a country that calls itself the land of opportunity.
Over 38 million Americans live below the official poverty line. 44 million face food insecurity. More than 650,000 Americans are homeless each night. Over half of working adults can't afford a $500 emergency. The top 1% of Americans hold over 30% of the nation's wealth, while the bottom 50% of Americans hold just 2% of the wealth.
I know what it feels like because we lived it. We are a low-income family. We've experienced insecurity. We have lived without access to affordable health care. We have lost jobs through no fault of our own, and we have been exhausted. But after we left the US to find a better life for our family, we noticed something that changed the way we viewed everything. In places that America calls developing countries or third world countries, we have found people living better on far less, but are much happier. They have much higher quality of lives than we did back in the States.
This is my assistant.
Wow.
Totally different world.
Wow. It's incredible.
And the only thing that's stopping us from having it here is not organizing against the billionaire Epstein class. We could have that too. We could do
Have what?
we can have that kind of society. We can have everything that she described within the United States, but it has been purposefully kept from us for decades, hundreds of years, ever since it was founded. The natives had it without technology. And then
You don't want to over romanticize it because then people will discredit you. They had their own struggles. They had diseases that haven't been cured yet. They had food insecurity that has been solved by industrial farming methods. These are the typical arguments that you'll hear. So, but the point of those last two videos is just pointing out the simplicity of happiness. What's available when you have basics: security, clean, healthy food, fuel for your body, and a lot less stress, right? Because there's a lot less insecurity, there's a lot less demand on you to produce all the time, constantly, to meet this voracious need for whatever it is. I mean,
for
the
profit.
healthcare bill, to pay the rent, you know? So we as Americans, we're prisoners of the quality of life we have. We live like royals. You know, and 150 years ago, people could only dream to have a refrigerator and plumbing in their house. That was reserved for the richest people in the world, the billionaire class. Right? Now what we have is off the charts.
That's true. That's true. Because of technology, we live a lot better. That is true. But with this technology comes with, if the technology is not used to benefit our lives, then what good is it? What good is the society if it's not working to benefit us? We have artificial intelligence. It's making things more efficient. You don't need to have as many people working, but we're seeing people in poverty. Why is that?
I hope these things come to light in a way that causes the majority of us to take action and to unify for the better of humanity before these surveillance and control systems win. I think that's the race we're up against right now, is how many people can wake up and take action, not just start a podcast, not just comment on X, but really lean into some kind of sacrifice, some kind of thing that you can do that takes a little bit more than ordinary, and perhaps everything, because if enough of us choose to not pay taxes or go to work tomorrow, we can change the world pretty quickly without violence. But the monster that we're up against is ungodly, of a behemoth.
I'd argue that I agree. We should absolutely do all of that. The only thing I will say is that the moment we stop showing up to work and the moment that we stop paying taxes, these forces will use violence against us in order to enforce their system.
Or to wake up more people, like the Indians marching to the sea to get their salt. You're familiar with that? Gandhi leading the the British Army was there just with baseball bats, just whacking them, and they got in line, and they each took a whack, and it was broadcast in England though, so enough of the populace saw it and was like, no, that's not what we do. Well, I'm sorry, it is actually what
it is what they do. Actually,
it is what you do.
Yeah.
It is the reason why you have tea and crumpets and horses and red coats and all that. But once you are faced with it, the general public just generally isn't aware. It's true. Like if my family members only knew what the government was really capable of and actually did day to day, they might be as enraged as I am.
Right.
But it seems so impossible because they're good people. It's so far from reality because they don't imagine that there's this kind of level of evil. I mean, theoretically, they know, it's out there somewhere and somebody's fighting it, thank goodness, but they don't realize just how prevalent and how real, the psychopathy and the malignant narcissism is of this class of people that are parasites on humanity.
Yeah. The consciousness is just it's not where it needs to be. It needs to be developed and it needs to be elevated as quickly as possible. As people's standard of living goes down and as the cost of living goes up, more people have to come to face with that reality. It works in our favor.
Yeah,
that's why they want to automate every.
It's sad.
Yeah, it is sad that it has to come to that. Yeah, it is very sad.
It's sad that the images from Gaza aren't enough to get people to fucking get uncomfortable.
Yeah, and to
whatever it's going to take to stop this injustice. I mean, it's normalized genocide now as a pastime. The Hunger Games are real at this point. Yeah. It's unbelievable to think that we actually live in a society that does this, and there's millions of people who believe in it, and there's hundreds of pundits that argue for it. It's terrible. It's a terrible time spiritually to be alive. If you're in your heart and in your conscience at all whatsoever and paying attention, it's mortifying. It's paralyzing almost.
Almost. Yeah.
So yeah, when the gas prices get to $20, then Americans care. Well, if Trump attacks Iran again and goes after their infrastructure because he's a cornered rat and he doesn't know anything else to do, and they do fulfill their promise, because boy, have they done everything they said they were going to do. They have almost a perfect record probably in the last few years.
And with incredible restraint as well.
As well as restraint. But even if going back to the JCPOA, like, they follow what they say they're going to do. They never throw out false threats. When they say they're going to, like, True Promise 1, True Promise 2, those were just like warnings. We now know for sure. I mean, many knew then. Scott Ritter said after True Promise 1, he goes, "This proves that America can't stop any of their missiles." He said that years ago. Right? And then there was True Promise 2 and 3, which was the 6-Day War. And then, so it's like what they're going to do will cause a global depression.
Worse than 1929.
Famines.
Famines.
In America. In the United States. Okay? Joblessness, lawlessness. It's going to result. And all for what? For the billionaire class that for some reason needs to control Iran's economy and Iran's political class. And it doesn't have anything to do with benefiting me or you. In fact, it only harms us. So we are about to throw what little stability is left in the world order out the window and cause global collapse. Trump is about to do that. And if so, Peter Thiel and Sam Altman will run off to New Zealand, and me and my family might just get vaporized. But you know what? I'd rather go down like that than running like they are to their fucking bunker in New Zealand because they're billionaires.
Into their fucking rat holes. Yeah.
Into their little rat holes. At least I'll die with dignity. I'll have known something about life. What fucking weirdos they are. They just want to become machines and live forever. They're twisted. They want to be like every gender.
Well,
Fucking
I wouldn't even say that.
yeah,
They
yeah,
want
yeah.
it. They want to be. They think they're better than everybody else, so therefore they want to be transhumanist, so that they could
Yeah.
physically augment themselves to be robots, so they could say, "Look, see, I have this machine. I am better." It's a superiority complex. Look at Zionists and Jewish supremacy. Look at Nazis. It's the same thing. And those people are always the biggest fucking losers on the planet. Always.
I know.
There's nothing to do with gender. It's nothing to do with anything like that. They don't have anything to express. They're husks. They're hollow, soulless husks.
Who's the fat Nazi that was Hitler's friend like early on?
Oh, I don't know.
Anyway, he just loved
Mussolini?
He loved to put, yeah, like Mussolini, but he loved to put on different uniforms. He had every uniform. Air Force, Navy. One day he was a Commodore. The next day he was a fucking general. He had 40. Oh, it was quite a wardrobe. Dude, it was like a fashion show every time, this guy. And he was pudgy and fat. He reminds me of Pete Hegseth. You know, just a flamboyant fucking just toy soldier. Yeah, just like, oh, the Empire should be so ashamed of itself right now. Our commander-in-chief is Donald Trump, and our Secretary of Defense or War is Pete Hegseth. What
DUI hire, Pete Hegseth.
A DUI hire. And if you don't know
our FBI director is Crash Out Patel. That we're getting rid of.
It's really, really, really true, buddy. I know you're white and everything, but honestly, from an intellectual standpoint, you're an affirmative action hire, dude. I don't know how you got in there, man. I think it was all dick sucking. It's definitely because you must suck really good dick. I'm pretty sure.
Real good.
Pete Hegseth, you must really you know how to choke on it too, don't you? You can breathe. You can breathe while you choke on it and say, yes, sir. I know. I see you do it every day, Pete. You're out there at the fucking podium just taking one for the team, taking it right down your throat. Big, fat, juicy one. Oh, it's beautiful to watch, Pete. Thank you so much.
Trump has much of one, but if it's Trump's, he doesn't have to do much hard work.
Are so fucking disgusting. I saw Kash Patel. Let's not even talk about the fake or whatever it was.
The most staged false flag of all time.
Whatever. Who cares? But yeah. Kash Patel, I don't even want to give it any credence. But Kash Patel, he's up there at the podium. He's like, and because we have such a great police force, thanks to you, Mr. President, because you're so great at everything. I'm going to suck your dick later. Don't worry about it. Oh, my God. They're so pathetic. They're not even men. They're not men. Okay, we don't have any real men in the cabinet. I don't care about all this bravado. Trump is not a man. Okay? He is not a man. He's a coward.
He's a boy. He's a child.
He can't even survive on his own. That's not a man. Put him in a fucking forest. See how he does. Put him in an apartment. Just give him an apartment with a key and say, here you go, buddy. Here's some money for food. He will die.
Let him cook his own food. He'll starve.
Oh my God. They're talking about the masculine crisis. It's right there. It's you, Pete Hegseth. You are the masculine crisis.
Pete Hegseth wants a masculine military, but look at him. He's not a man.
He has a whole wing to his hair and his wardrobe. He's such a man. Oh my God, he's such a man. Pete Hegseth, My father would chew you up and spit you out. He was a New York City cop and Vietnam vet. He never talked shit. He never said a word about anything. You just looked at him and you knew not to fuck with him. You are a faggot, pansy, fraud, imposter who is going to someday swing from the gallows. You war criminal. Pathetic. That's what happens to faggots like you. You turn into war criminals. Sucking dick for Israel. Fuck you.
He's
We're
weak.
gonna get banned. We're gonna get banned. Sorry. I hope it goes viral.
A strong person doesn't operate the way Pete Hegseth does. He's weak. He's pathetic.
Any of those guys.
Any of
And
them.
is it true that Marco Rubio was caught sucking dick in a park?
I don't know, but Kash Patel definitely, his girlfriend
was
definitely
young?
cheats on him. You know, look at Kash Patel and look at his girlfriend. No, she doesn't respect him. She does
doesn't
not respect him.
She's using
No.
it for power.
Yeah,
I mean,
she's
whatever.
probably.
He's gonna get dumped as soon as he loses his job as FBI director. She's gonna dump him.
Well, yeah. Then the mission is complete, and then she can report back to Israel.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna try to fix these fucking problems or figure out the Charlie Kirk conspiracy. But
Well, no, that was Israel too. It was either Israel or he was critical of the Iran war, so the Trump admin took him out.
It's an inside job. It's 100% an inside job.
Yeah, that's what they gave him the state funeral, because he was one of them. They feel a little bad. Erica Furtz, what was her maiden name?
I don't care.
Erica Crooks. Yeah,
I don't want to know.
Franzfa. Erica Franzfa is a works with Mossad.
It's so broken and so distorted. It's so long gone. The whole
It's
thing.
fake. It's all fake. It is a
CIA,
lie on top of a lie.
The MK Ultra program, the creation of different terrorist groups by the CIA and Mossad and Saudi intelligence. I mean, for those of you who are interested, Ryan Dawson is the authority.
Yep.
Go to his website. I think it's something against neocons or no more neocons or something. He's so creative. He's so great. But man, he has got the evidence that you need to see on
RyanDawson.org.
Yeah, but there's another website he has where he has all his films for free for people to watch. And
ANC report?
The ANC report. Yep. It's anti-neocon report. Yeah. So
we need to start the anti-billionaire report. ABR.
Yeah, maybe if we grow in repute, we can talk to Ryan. He seems like a really down-to-earth guy. I would love to. He's like, if you gave me free will, who do you want to have lunch with? I want to have lunch with Ryan Dawson, not Abraham Lincoln. Although he is an interesting history figure from history, but I mean, I'm not interested in Brad Pitt. I'd rather hang out with Ryan Dawson or Muhammad Ali, or Rabbi Weiss. That's who I really want to be in the presence of. What a blessed saintly man. By the way, for those of you who don't get that reference, Rabbi Weiss is a rabbi he's an ultra-Orthodox rabbi here in New York. And he is someone who is regularly out protesting against the Zionist entity. He is an anti-Zionist Jewish rabbi and represents many millions of ultra-Orthodox Jewish people from around the world. And he is a very important voice. And he is such a very courageous man and one of my personal heroes, among others. A revolutionary in his own right. A man doing Christ's work, ironically, as a rabbi. Isn't that interesting? He's blessed are the peacemakers.
Yeah, and he's not like the Israelis. I'm sure he doesn't spit on Christians like the Israelis do.
Oh, he's so full of love. When you see him, you could just see he's full of humility and light, care.
Full of humanity as well.
Humanity. He's full of humanity. He's full of humanity. And he comes from a sect where they're not billionaires. In fact, a lot of the other Jewish reformists and secular Israelis hate this sect of Judaism he comes from because they are poor.
Just like they hate the Iranian Jews.
Money is not their priority. Getting rich isn't their priority. So they're generally despised and considered like the lower class Jews, even though they're true rabbinical, dedicated Torah Jews. And they also live in Jerusalem. And they've been living in Jerusalem long before the state of Israel. And they reject the state of Israel outright. And they are abused and killed and made political prisoners and tortured in Israel by the Israeli authorities. Torture.
That's why Israel bombed the synagogue in Iran.
Yes. Israel consciously bombed a Jewish synagogue in Tehran because they resent Jews who don't fit the narrative that Israel is the mother and fatherland of the Jewish people, which is a blasphemy of true Judaism if one understands the religion of Judaism, which is a religion of peace and a profound and significant civilization creating spiritual practice that has enriched the world, and also within its ranks
Tim, I think we lost you. Can you hear me? You're frozen. Oh boy.
Wow. Did we
There
get
you go.
banned?
No. That'd be something. One viewer and we're banned, and it's the CEO of YouTube. No, just kidding.
And they are this group of Zionists who emerged in the late 19th century had a very different mindset and relationship to Judaism. And they were the pioneers of the state of Israel. And in fact, they formed terrorist gangs known as the Irgun, the Stern, and there was a third infamous one among the bunch. And from those ranks emerged several Israeli prime ministers who committed terror acts against civilian populations, who sent a hit squad to London to assassinate a minister, who blew up a hotel in Jerusalem with all sorts of civilians in it, who blew up a boat of Jews who had the audacity to think that they could leave Palestine when the Zionist entity that was forming was insisting on the population growth so that they could not feel so outnumbered by the Arabs who had lived there for thousands of years. In peace with the sect of Jews that I'm talking about that Rabbi Weiss comes from, who have lived there for centuries upon centuries in peace, and more than in peace, together culturally. They respected one another. There's a tradition in Islam where if you see a Jewish rabbi, you ask the rabbi to bless your family. Yeah. Islam venerates Judaism and Christianity. There are many churches, old ancient churches in Persia, in Iran, and they celebrate some of the Christian holidays, including the Feast of St. Mary, the mother of Jesus. There's a train station in Tehran dedicated to the Holy Mother. There are hospitals that are funded by the government for Jews in Iran. So they fund the schools and the hospitals for Jewish people so they can have their own private institutions. They insist on religious education because they are an Islamic republic after all. So whatever you are, you have to study that. If you're Christian, you need to study the Christian Bible. If you're Jewish, you need to study the Torah. So they actually mandate and they protect the Jews and the Christians and the people of all faiths in Iran. And yet, in Judaism, albeit I have a great respect and love that I expressed earlier for it, Jesus is actually not venerated at all. Jesus is not considered in the Old Testament or the Torah, and Jewish people do not recognize Jesus Christ as having been the Messiah who came and fulfilled the Old Testament, hence creating a new liturgy known as Christianity, where many of the principles and values have changed to be more inclusive and less exclusive, to be more self-sacrificial and less barbaric. So ironically, Israel is destroying churches and killing priests in Lebanon. I don't know why they're doing it this time. Is Hamas hiding in tunnels underneath the churches in Lebanon?
Yeah, they switched. Now it's Hezbollah.
Hezbollahs are Christians?
Exactly.
You can't be a Christian in Hezbollah. They only accept Muslims. Yeah, I do want to get on General Keane on our next episode. I'll have to do my research. I just remember what it is that bothered me. It's the things that he says about Muslims. I think that's one of the biggest problems in our media. The lies that Americans have been told for decades because of Israel's propagandic influences on our society.
And the military-industrial complex.
Lies upon lies upon lies about Muslims that just breaks my heart, honestly. I saw one on Facebook, somebody I know for a long time, and a baby boomer, not the smartest, not the sharpest tool in the woodshed. But he has a right to vote, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And he sent out some picture of like a little girl in a burqa with a bottle, and he's like, see what they do to their girls? This girl will never know the joy of a smile, of her own smile, because she has a burqa over her face. All right, yeah, you know what? There might even be some religious extremism. There definitely is. But there's also some religious extremism here. There's religious extremism in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Could you please bomb us? Could you please bomb us? There's some religious extremists over here in Brooklyn. Actually, they're called the Chabad.
Yeah.
The Chabad. They're religious extremists. Ask them how they treat their women. The women have to walk behind them. They also have to wear something on their head at all times. Why is not anybody making any complaints? We should go kill them?
How are they not barbaric as well?
Shh. Don't notice. No
Yeah.
noticing allowed.
Yeah. Don't think. No thinking allowed.
Oh, yeah. Remember, critical thinking is a national security risk.
Yep. Cognition is a national security threat.
Cognition is a national security threat.
If you're thinking, you're not a good patriot. If you're thinking, you're not a good American.
Don't notice, or you're not a good American. If you notice, I don't think we should trust you anymore.
What's that?
What was your other topic?
My other topic was somewhat similar to all of this. A lot of different terrorist groups out there that are supported by various governments, of all different kinds, but in particular, since we live in the United States, plenty of bad actors sponsored by the United States. Another thing that a lot of these people do is they basically just do targeted assassinations of people that they don't like and that they disagree with. We've seen recently a lot of scientists disappearing just out of thin air. They don't tell their families anything. One minute they're there, the other minute gone. Car still in the driveway, phone is still at home, wallet's still at home. In some cases, phones factory reset, disappear without a trace. And a lot of these scientists are deeply involved with Department of Defense, deeply involved with places like Los Alamos National Laboratory. It's where they manufacture plutonium for various different things, nuclear weapons being one of them, obviously. And we're seeing, and another one is I've seen people I've seen at least a report of one person being disappeared from the NASA Jet Propulsion Laboratory, someone who worked there. Just all these high-ranking scientists, and you got to wonder,
and generals too, right?
And generals too, yeah, and people within the military also, yeah. You got to wonder, like, if the whole game is to control the entire planet and to control the global energy supply by taking out Iran, by trying to steal the entire country of Venezuela, by attacking Russian oil refineries by way of Ukraine, and by seizing oil tankers, you got to think that, like, if the United States and the Epstein class, the billionaires, wants to keep everyone else underdeveloped and poor, it's awfully convenient that a lot of these people that are working on nuclear energy are disappearing in particular. Because, if a country has their own nuclear power plant, they don't need to rely on fossil fuels as much for their electricity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it would be only speculation to surmise why they're being taken out. But what doesn't feel like a guess is that they're onto something which would compromise the billionaires.
Or they have views that compromise what the billionaires want to do. So they find the people with the views they don't like, and that's it. There's a lot of surveillance in this country.
Maybe it's they're on to some technological breakthrough that
too,
that would render profitability of the billionaires neutral. Like, for example, if we figured out how to tap into gravity
or nuclear fusion. One of the fusion scientists at MIT got
something so significant, like, even more than the invention of the airplane, like, changes reality forever. We now actually access unlimited clean energy from the gravitational field.
Or like anti-gravity technology for vehicles.
That's all the same.
Yeah.
That also means that you're now messing with time and space too.
Right.
So, and quantum fields perhaps. So maybe we actually don't know what we don't know here. Like, maybe they made contact with another dimension. Maybe they figured out anti-gravity. Maybe they figured out a cheap way to control fusion that is not dangerous. You know what I mean? Something that will undermine the need for oil.
Or something that they can't fully control, so they don't want to.
Right, something they can't
access to
control. There's not a lever or a I want to say a knob, but what I mean is like the hose spigot,
faucet,
a valve, like a valve or a faucet. They want to be able to control that. If all of a sudden everybody can create energy and food, whoa, that's worth murdering some scientists and generals over. I think it means the whole system changes, everything changes. They lose all their power.
Right.
In fact, I feel a tractor beam coming for me right now, even figuring out their plan. The walls are moving in.
Yeah, no, it's concerning to say the least. You got to think too. This is speculation, but with all the surveillance that's happening, they also want to prevent another. They want to prevent another Edward Snowden situation, at all costs.
Yeah,
or
definitely.
Chelsea Manning. Yeah.
Who's
The
Chelsea Manning?
surveillance. Chelsea Manning was a whistleblower who leaked war crimes evidence to WikiLeaks.
I've heard the name before. I thought it was a football player. There's a football player named something Manning.
Oh, yeah. Well, there was a football player too who joined the military, and then he was against the government, so they killed him at friendly fire. I forget his name. Yeah.
Probably what would have happened to me had I gone in, had I not realized the path I was on was untrue. Because when I was young, I was a Boy Scout. I was a young member of the Young Republicans. I was a patriot. I had a better dead than red poster. I used to listen to Radio Moscow and talk about how bad the Russians were. This is like 1981, 1982. And then I wanted to join the Air Force and become a pilot. I wanted to then, I had it all planned out. I wanted to graduate, from my career, finish my career, retire, become a congressman. Like I really believed in this stuff. And then I ended up going to a maritime college, which was quasi-military, not a full federal academy by any stretch. But still there, the first year, I remember thinking like, I'll do whatever they tell me, like if they want me to drop bombs, there's a good reason. Not that was my path at that point, but because, going to the school I went to for maritime was Merchant Marine, which is far from weapons systems and dropping bombs and planes. But in some cases, you end up under the Department of the Navy in times of war because you're part of the supply chain. But that's about it. In any case, the thought was still with me that I'm a patriot. This is the greatest country in the world, and I'll die for my country. And it didn't take too long for me to start to realize from inside, Kansas is not what it's supposed to be, or I'm missing the expression. But things are not as they appear. It's about time. I was about 18, 19 years old, and I started to look at George Bush Sr. and go, oh, he's lying to us. What? Politicians lie? It's very naive, I know, but it was soon, it didn't take too long for me to realize just how dastardly and criminal we had become as a nation, if ever not. But certainly after World War II, starting from Eisenhower on, the number of imperial escapades that cost millions of innocent civilians' lives have been too numerous to name. Although, wasn't it you who showed us last week that video?
Yeah. Yep.
That was very powerful. That's incredible. It was like
that video got the creator banned off YouTube. Actually, there's no violence shown in it.
Is it like 100 different engagements the United military, engagements and wars the United States has had in its history? Like 100?
Probably.
100?
I don't know the exact number, but
It
definitely
like
dozens.
Almost every year.
Almost every year of the United States' existence, it has been a war with someone or something. Whether every single year, actually. I mean, it's been at war with the Native Americans since the very beginning, and that's never stopped.
Yeah, well, people will argue. So every country's always going to have something every year, well, of course. But
right.
Yeah,
but like militarily engaging. Yeah, like basically every single year, almost every year.
So that video is not on YouTube anymore?
I think that account, where I saw it on Twitter / they call it X now, but it's Twitter.
Yeah.
I saw it on their account over there, and they said the title of the post was "This video got me banned off YouTube," or got us banned off YouTube. Yeah.
Okay, well, God bless them. We should download it. We want to have a copy of that. That was very powerful. I would love to show that to an audience of people who are open-minded and coming to terms with reality. And as gas prices go up, there's going to be more people coming to meet Jesus.
That's it.
Jesus, bring down the price of gas. I'll do anything. I'll be like, hey, watch this movie. You learn about how the billionaires are ruining your life. Okay, fine. Is Jesus going to help save me from the price of gas? Yeah, Jesus is in the movie. Step right in. And then we'll show it.
So many people are distracted. They're distracted, and as the material reality gets worse for them, they're going to be like, what the fuck? I can't go and get my treats. I can't go and I
don't want Trump. I don't want Trump to destroy the world, but it may be for the better.
Yeah, I didn't want. It's not that I wanted Trump to win, but it's that I wanted Kamala to lose because I wanted people to see. I don't endorse the suffering. I don't want anyone to suffer. I don't. But the kids in Gaza were gonna fucking suffer anyway under Kamala Harris, whether her or Trump. So You know what? I said fuck it. Thank God Donald Trump won. Thank God, because at least there's no hiding it anymore. People know now. That's the difference. So I'm glad that Donald Trump beat Kamala Harris, and I fucking despise Donald Trump and all of them.
Yeah, he's a terrible human, but
he's a terrorist. Look,
he's just. This isn't inevitable. This is all inevitable. This is how the empire acts. No matter who's in charge, it's going to get here. It's just he's getting it here a little sooner, or just in time. I feel like it's divinely planned, divinely ordered, I should say.
It's funny you say that. There's do you know what a copy pasta is?
No.
Okay, so never mind. There was a post that someone made online, and it was their evangelical Christian Chinese dad who lived in China, and he said the dad was saying that God is going to make sure that Donald Trump wins so that he destroys America and that the world could be at peace.
He's not far off, I think.
It's really not. Yeah, it's. I adapted into my spiritual canon.
I mean, Americans think that we're treasonous or blasphemous against the American religion. They don't understand. You just have to step outside of your own ego for a minute and your own culture's ego and look from the outside. It's laughable. America is an imperialist nation like Britain was, running around the world, stealing from everybody and brutalizing anybody that stands up to it. They don't just call it resistance, they call it terrorism. By the way, let me remind you, Gandhi was a terrorist as far as the British government was concerned.
Yep.
Nelson Mandela was a terrorist as far as the United States government was concerned. He was a terrorist organization, the African National Congress. Okay? So, ladies and gentlemen, in 15 years, Hamas might not be on the list of terrorist organizations. Its leader might be revered like Nelson Mandela was and Gandhi, because they're fighting at the heads of resistance movements. They're not terrorists. The terrorists are Al-Qaeda and ISIS. And the biggest funders are the U.S. government and Israel. We are the biggest sponsors of proxy terrorism.
The United States.
We're the biggest state terrorist entities because we carpet bomb civilian infrastructure to get their populace to submit to our demands. Wake up. This is the facts. We don't have the right to do that to anybody. What makes you think we have the right to bomb Iran's infrastructure, turn off their electricity, their incubators, their hospitals? They are modern, advanced society. It doesn't even matter, even if they were primitives. They're human beings. Stop giving your soul over to Satan.
Well
said.
said.
Probably wrap up soon.
Yeah. I'd say it's a good way to end it, Tim.
Oh, all right, cool.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better. What gives the United States, what gives us the right to bomb children in their fucking schools?
What gives us the right to bomb
anyone for any reason?
Anybody, unless they're on our borders attacking us. I mean, even then, I think there's a lot to always evaluate in self. But until somebody is knocking on the door. Bro, what are you talking about? To control the price of oil? Why? All right, don't get me started again.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah, all right. Well, we hope you enjoy that, everybody.
Except you see those beasts, motherfucker. Well, I wanted to say one thing when I was talking about my dad before. What I wanted to say to you, Pete Hegseth, he never looked in the mirror.
He can never look anyone in the face without feeling insecure.
No. Pete Hegseth, both my grandfathers fought in World War II. They were both E8s, okay? One in the Navy, one in the Army. They both saw combat, okay? Face to face for years. My father, Vietnam veteran, New York City cop. I never saw any of them looking in the mirror or looking at pictures of themselves. Oh, which one is good to post? Oh, how many likes did I get? Oh, how does my hair look today? They were men. They were real men. Okay, that's it. I just wanted to make sure I closed the loop on that earlier because I wanted to make that point. The guy cares more about what he looks like than who he is.
He's a fucking pussy. Pete Hegseth is a fucking pussy. And that's all you're ever gonna fucking be, Pete. You're a fucking failure.
All right.
Yeah.
Good night. Good night, everybody. Thanks, Victor.
Yep. Thank you,
See
Tim.
you later, Mark.
Bye, Mark. Peace out, everybody.
Bye.
Wish you were here, Mark.